Alright, quick deck tech here. This is the Grenadin list. I used this and was able to push some rating early on in the format and Throne, and it's budget as hell. I think my version has some power that makes it a little more expensive, but altogether, I think it's like 8,000 shift zone, and like a lot of the rares can just be replaced with just about anything else. So it'll be a good deck for people to get started. Later on, this deck will be featured in my new player starters guide. That'll come out eventually when I have time to sit down and really do a good job with editing that. But this is for just some gameplay I played early. I think it was day 1, so 10 days ago from when I'm recording this. And it was a lot of fun to play. I think new players could do quite well with it. You'll actually see in the gameplay that I didn't realize fire conjuring existed. So I messed that up. I think I was using 4 rallies instead. But this is what I would play. There's other versions on my Warcry that'll be even more budget than this, so if that's what you're looking for, it'd be a good place to start for any new player. So what this deck does is we're just playing a lot of early aggression, so stuff like Grenadin Drone, make a guy, Oni Patrol, if you've attacked with something, it gets bigger, and then ticking Grenadin when it dies, deal 3. These are our 1-drops, they start off our curve. Roll of thumb, it's not a hard and fast roll, but if you have a hand with any of these 1-drops in it, you'll probably keep it, as long as you have like a 1-drop and then maybe a 2-drop or maybe something else going on in the hand, it's good to keep. And then we've got Cool Scrounger. This is one of the upgrades for the deck. I would recommend crafting this first if you're looking to play this and ladder with it for a while. But your other Grenadin get +1 and shuffle a Firebomb into the enemy deck. You'll see in the video that this happens way more often than it should. I don't think it's random. I've had it shuffle into the top 5 for my opponents multiple times. I don't know what's going on with that. Either I'm just the luckiest person alive, or in 7 out of the 20 games I played, that happened. So, I mean, I guess it's just some incidental value. We're mainly playing it for the first part, but that Firebomb effect happens way more often than I think it should. Disassembler, when one of your Grenadin dies, deal 1 damage to the enemy player. Similar to Cool Scrounger, except this requires your guys to die, and Cool Scrounger wants your guys to live. So similar but opposite. If you have 2 of these in play and they blow up your board, they're in for a hurtin'. And then Overheating Minibot is a 2-power 3/2, so just pretty aggressively statted. If they ever are outclassing him on the board, you can sacrifice him or try and like rally or something, or just let him die. It doesn't really matter that much. Usually he'll come down and he'll just be more relevant than anything else on the board, and then when he's not, you just let him die and hopefully you can win from there anyway. Praxis Trove. This is another addition that you don't need to have. You could cut stuff like Praxis Trove and etc. and just like main deck Relentless Pursuit, and it would just be just as fine. But I thought this card was cool, so that's why I played it. So what we'd do is we'd play one of our 1-drops, or we'd play Assembly Line, which makes 3 1-drops, and it gives us a Torch, or it gives us a Blazing Salvo, or I guess this is a non-bow. It can rip a Flame Blast, which will just deal 1 damage or whatever, how much power you have at the time. And then later on, you play a 2-drop, and then you get Seer. And then you play a 3-drop, and you get a Rally or an Assembly Line. So I just thought it was cool. This seems to be the kind of deck that could make use of it. Jury's still out on if this is good or not, but if you ever get a game where you need to like grind a bit, Praxis Trove might be the card that helps you do it. If not, just cut this card, it's not important, don't worry about it. Blazing Salvo, just cheap little burn spell. This is another one of the cards we're opting to play that is a rare, so you could cut Blazing Salvo and just play Fire Etchings instead. But I like how this will clear blockers out of the way, so that's why we opted to play Blazing Salvo. And then, yeah, so we talked about Flame Blast, but this is just big damage to the face. You can use it to clear blockers, and I don't know, it's just so... It's usually not bad, and we're always happy to see Flame Blast, so that's why we're seeing 4. You're particularly happy to see this later on in the game off the top of your deck when it's lethal, and that'll happen quite a bit. Torch, 1 power, 3 damage, just hyper efficient card here for clearing blockers out of the way and finishing your opponent off. Seer, same kind of deal. We like Torch so much that we decided to play some Seers, and it also just enables our Praxis Trove. You could potentially just not play this if you're playing a version without Praxis Trove, or if you didn't want to, but I'd honestly still play Seer. It's just good at clearing blockers. And then assembly line, make 3 Grenadin. This will really help you with the next few cards, and with our Cool Scrounger and Assemblers. So the next few cards, Fire Conjuring. All of your units get +2 this turn. This is why we're playing the deck. Between this and Rally, very, very... very big damage. So we're able to go wide on the board and just really pop off with Fire Conjuring. And later on in the game, you can actually invoke this and get a spell. Now, like I said, I just played straight Rally. This is uncommon, though, so it should be within your budget. And this is definitely probably an upgrade for Rally. Because by the time you have 3 power, you should have 2 fire influence. So, yeah, this deck's super sweet. For the power base, it might look a little wonky, but we're playing 5 sigils, 4 Emblem of Shavka. This is a card that you could just play a basic sigil instead if you're playing the budget version of this. It's not necessary. Granite Coin. I'd say this card is actually necessary. It'll let you trade your guys into their stuff and then hopefully use the coin to trade up. Or if they opt not to block, you can pop very important ramp cards. There's a lot of time guys that like to ramp. And there's stuff like Ikaria, little Ikaria, that don't like having a granite coin flying at them. Or, I forget the name of it. There's a Justice guy named like Hojan or something. And they really hate granite coin. And you can also just pop Aegis with it, which is fine. And then between Coin and Waystone, I think they're worth crafting, but you literally could just play 25 Fire Sigils. These are commons though, and they give you some ways to just like do things with your power that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. So I'd recommend crafting them even if you're on a budget. And then Broken Contract and Seal of Devotion. Like I said, these are just some rares that I included to kind of give the deck a small edge. It could be that I'm just making the deck worse, but Broken Contract's pretty cool, and making 4/1s is fine. If they're killing your stuff, which, you know, probably will be trading our stuff and just, like, yeeting our stuff away just to, like, get through damage during combat. So putting a 4/1 on the board is not something to turn our noses up at. And then Seal of Devotion is just 1 less power you'll draw off the top. One of the downsides to this is there's a very awesome Grenadin that's 2 cost, and it's got 3 fire in its cost. And there's a couple other things we could be playing, but we're opting not to play it because we have 8 of our power that's just not fire influence. I think this is better, but you could do whatever you want. And for the market, Ankle Cutter. This is for annoying stuff like Roland or Sandstorm Titan, just big beefy boys that get in the way. Edict of Shavka, blow through Aegis and kill stuff. You never know when you're going to need this, but when you do, you're happy to have it. And Factory Quota. Obviously, anyone gaining a ton of life is going to be the bane of our existence, so shutting that off is pretty dandy for us. And if they're playing a really slow control deck, they might not have any units, so this will deal 2 damage to them every turn and shut off any life gain they might have, which is sweet. Relentless Pursuit. Being able to grab this mid-combat with Blazing Salvo can be clutch sometimes. Oftentimes this represents 2 power, dealing 5 extra damage or 6 extra damage just directly to your opponent's face. So this card's great. And then Slag, once again, Sandstorm Titan's annoying, and we can also kill relics with this. And it's fast, so you can end of turn salvo something and then pop a relic or a Titan. So that's the deck. Pretty straightforward, and you can definitely use it to grind out some wins on the ladder.